Chup. Loopa, loopa. Gunda. Yup, yup. Manatuto. Silgoba fingawa. Goopa loopa. Koto ostoga.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Wes, Hank, and Andy. Welcome back. Hello, everybody.
What's going on?
Ewok time.
Ewok time.
That sounds like a cooking show all of a sudden.
Cooking with Ewoks.
Wait. Punctuation
Ewok
matters.
again?
Cooking with Ewoks. Cooking with Ewoks.
Nice. How to cook for 40 Ewoks.
That's right. How to cook 40 Ewoks. No. Funny you should say that, because that ties directly into tonight's Bad Star Wars Jokes.
Nice.
Guys, I got a question for you.
Okay.
On the moon of Endor, what has 14 eyes and 224 chattering teeth?
Any number of murderous creatures that are out to get you?
Ewoks in a Dulak pot.
14 eyes and 224 chattering teeth. That's a good answer. It's not the one I'm looking for, though.
7. It's 14 eyes is 7 individual things. You got me.
A stormtrooper patrol at night.
Nice.
That one just tickles me. I don't know why. I like it.
They're right to be
If
chattering.
you've ever played
that
game in Battlefield 2, the Endor at night, Ewoks versus Empire, it's great.
Dear.
It's a great mode.
Is it as terrifying as it should be?
It's pitch black. If you're on you start out as an Imperial troop and you have a flashlight option, but you need to turn it off to fire.
Right.
And you can barely, and the draw distance of the light is so tight, and it's very,
right.
And you can hear them in the background chittering, and if you die, you become an Ewok, and you have to, then you hunt but you can see a little better. And
well, Gaz is here tonight and just wants to remind us about the Manchi cheese. He would like the uprising to commence.
No.
Not going to be any Manchi cheese uprising tonight.
No way.
Down with you. Down.
Ewoks will win.
I want to talk about this episode lightly before we get into the breakdown. Like when they these shows, and I don't know, presumably the way that television is written, it probably hasn't changed a whole lot over the decades. But like, I gotta wonder, was there a writer's room on this, or was it just a couple of people
pitching?
Like, I know, like it was Dini and Bob Corral. Did they have outside influences? Do you think?
It's probably not a ton. Like you might have your aides writing, people, underlings writing for you, but it doesn't feel like it's a huge stable,
no,
like a Saturday Night Live writing table or an office, something like that. The office writing table.
The reason I ask, this week's episode, Curse of the Jindas, it strikes me as when I watched it, I feel like there are two for sure, possibly 3 disparate story ideas that were just kind of like sandwiched together. The transition from one thing to the next didn't feel as organic. Like, I know each episode has like your A plot and your B plot, and in some cases a C plot, but they all seem kind of related. And this one was just like, what is going on? Am I the only one on that? Maybe?
Well, I mean, in a roundabout way, it did tie itself up nicely at the end.
Did it?
It did, because their starting point led to the solution of the end point.
There's a glaring omission in this episode that at 9 years old when the show came out, I don't think I would have thought of. But at 49, I'm like, oh my God. And to me, by the end of the episode, I'm like, well, the whole tribe is doomed. And I'll tell you why when we get going.
It's basically without all the emphasis on the performance, it's identical to the last Jinda episode where they swoop in, the Ewoks sort of become part of their act and hide out, get caught on stage.
Yeah.
Like it's it's almost identical. And I feel like they were writing little groups, like here's some characters, these Jinda people. I'll write something, you write something. And then they were like, well,
maybe
we kind of both wrote the same thing, or we could do that again differently. Like the script is so similar to the other one. And there's just like a thread of familiarity.
To have them back, to have the Jindas come back for a second episode and to be treated to some additional visuals with them. There's one thing that stood out, and I don't know if I have an image for it this week, but in the flashback sequence, did you notice there's another woman in the field?
Yeah.
Where is she?
I don't know, under the veil now?
Is she one of the I don't think she's one of the dancers. She's a completely different build compared to the dancers, but it was an interesting one anyway. All right, let's get into this one. Let's talk about it. It is oh, wait a second. 1 minute. What? There it is. And switcheroo. Yeah, is that? Nope.
There you go.
That's the one I want. There we go. This week it's Star Wars Ewoks episode 06, The Curse of the Jindas. This one is written by Bob Corral, as the last few have been. Also directed by Raymond Jathalis. Also, like the last, all of them?
I think all of them, yeah.
The original air date on this one, Saturday, September 28th, 1985.
Settling right into
this
school.
one. Oh, sorry. I did not change the text on that. I stand corrected. Saturday, October 19th.
Oh.
Runtime, 22 minutes, like all broadcast television in the 80s.
Commercials are there.
And our episode synopsis this week reads, after the Jindas save the Ewoks from Scandits, Logray tries to reverse the Jandas curse.
The Jandas.
Typo on my part. The Jandas.
Curse of the Jandas.
The curse of the Jandas. All right, so the episode opens up with our Ewok cast, which consists of, looks like we got Weechi, Willie, Wicket, Latara, and Nisa are on their way. Oh, sorry, and Paplu are on
there too.
Is he? Oh, wait, right. He's hiding in the back.
No, he's at the front with the little.
He's walking point.
Yeah,
that's right.
With
That's
his
right.
Little buddy there.
They're on their way to Muth, who apparently is a trader that lives in the forest, and they're going to trade for winter supplies. Along the way, we run into, it looks like Wicket's, what do you call it? The Bordock?
Yeah.
The little ones out in front?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Tebow and his little purple horse thing.
Yeah. And then, of course, we see the great Bordock drawing the wagon. They see a couple of the Jindas. Looks like one of the stage crew and one of the dancers go running by.
This is the first of a couple times that it comes up tonight, but like watching it through adult eyes is like, oh, they slipped that one by.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
She peeks out from behind that tree like, come on. And he's like, yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, but it's not like
in your face that much.
No, and I mean,
would know.
Sure, but then through the grown-up lens, it's like, well, then what's he doing inviting them to come along?
Well, once you get over there, you see.
He says that they want to know what are the Jindas doing up to these days. Oh, we're relaxing by a waterfall. You guys should come.
Yeah.
Of course they can't because they're on their way to Muth's, but maybe on their way back they can stop in. Oh, wait a second. Wait. Gaz wants to know. He's got a question for us. Gaz says, okay, try this. What would happen if you release an entire ship full of critters onto Endor?
Oh,
now, are we talking generic critters or are we talking?
No, the ones from the movie. Yeah.
This is not my forte.
The movie critters.
Andy, I think
little,
you need to take this one.
Black porcupine balls. Yeah. It would roll over everything on Endor.
I think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing an 80s style, like keep the tone in the genre. Gremlins versus critters, like in the vein of Aliens versus Predators. That'd be some good stuff.
I think the critters might still have an edge there.
They
though.
might probably, but it would be a good. I mean,
It
like
would be a good matchup.
the aliens have the edge, right? But it's
Yeah.
still a good movie.
Yeah.
Well, after that, we actually do cut to the waterfall, and we've got Trebla, who is pretty nervous, and he's imploring Bondo we should be moving on. Bondo, he's pretty nonchalant about it. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Trebla's like, that's what you said yesterday.
And the day before.
Yeah, and he's not too happy about it. And he mentions, but what about the curse?
When the curse shows up, you're going to blame me for not telling you about it.
Yeah, and no sooner does he say that than a bunch of floating rocks.
Flying rocks. Another terrifying thing on Endor.
I never.
This
thought
is so Star Trek, the original series. Like
very
what
much
we
so.
do, like floating rocks as the enemy. It's
like,
it just hit me like that. Like,
did you ever see an animated rock have a personality before?
Just
No.
fantastic.
Well, that's not true. Yes, I did.
In what?
Labyrinth. When Ludo calls
Oh,
the
okay,
rocks,
that's true.
They
That's true.
mobilize just
Okay.
like this.
That's true. I didn't think.
But
of it
they
that
roll.
way.
They don't fly.
Yeah, and they show up like in formation, and
They
it's like
are.
there's like a lead rock and all the support rocks.
Yep.
Right.
But if you look in that first frame you got there,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not all male Jindas in the lake.
No, I think there's some of the girls are in there too, but
Yeah.
like as far as the act is concerned, we see obviously with Bondo, Trebla, the band,
Yeah.
The dancers, animal handler, I can't think of his name, Chatur.
Mhm.
But
Nice.
in the flashback, there's this other woman tilling the fields,
Maybe she
and
got
it's
left
like,
behind. Or
what-
maybe a rock got her.
what happened to her?
Maybe she got squished.
Yeah, and I think there's
depending on how long ago that was, it could have been just like someone's
A
mom or
generation.
Just,
Oh,
like
maybe,
an
maybe.
ancestral person. Just the idea that we were
Yeah.
sedentary.
And then, of course, look at what's the little thing, the little guy sitting beside Bondo.
Now,
Who
that
the
a
hell is
child
that?
Or a toy?
What?
It's a stuffed Jinda.
I thought it was an actual kid.
I thought
Yeah.
it could be, yes.
So that's
But-
interesting. They are reproducing.
Mhm.
Want to help, Ewoks?
Come on over. We're at the waterfall.
The rocks show up, and the curse is on as suddenly everybody panics, and they get chased away. So pack up the A-Wars, and away we go.
Yep.
Now, over with the Ewoks, our Ewok fellows on the wagon wonder about what's going to happen at Muth's at the trader, wondering what kind of treasures he will have this year. Nisa points out that the chief told them to trade for winter supplies because the villagers work hard all year for this. It turns out Wicket has collected, I guess we can call this currency or trade
form of currency,
trade
yeah.
goods. He's collected what's called a Mon seed.
Feel
Oh,
again like
sack
more
of it.
like adult responsibility stuff thrust upon children. Like,
Yep.
Yeah,
and I
right.
get
Definitely.
that like the older brothers are, late teens. I kind of feel like they are, like
I do as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't put them in their 20s, sort of that mentality, not full adults anyway.
I get with the Mon seeds and sort of the interaction that we have once we get to Muth's, it's a bit of a Jack and the Beanstalk vibe.
Hmm.
Little bit.
And if you thought Bondo was used car salesman, wait till you
Oh.
meet Muth. But the Mon seeds, Wicket has collected them. He says, I collected them and polished them myself. And everybody on the wagon is like, oh, like they're quite enamored at this.
It's like, oh, you could get anything you want there. So get this for me.
Yeah, yeah. So they must have some appeal to everybody anyway.
Mhm. Now, Nisa does say something funny, or at least I found it a bit funny.
Sure.
She's like, remember what father said.
Yeah.
And she's speaking to Wicket.
Yeah.
But he's not Wicket's father.
No, it's her
It
father.
should have been, remember what my father said.
Yeah.
But he's chief though too, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like
I guess, yeah, father figure to the tribe.
Odin is the Allfather, so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's that far off the mark, to be honest.
Okay.
they do seem like more of an item than they ever have in any other
Oh,
episode.
absolutely.
In
Right.
this one, very
Yeah.
much so. We get some language in this episode, and one thing that Ewoks has been really good for is giving you no context for it.
Yeah.
Here's a primitive looking thing. And we've got Tuz in Galactic Basic there, or High Republic, apparently, as it's known now.
Nice.
Apparently, Galactic Basic, no. Some language apparently just got canonized as like the English, like the Greco-Roman alphabet. It's like a thing now.
What?
I don't know.
Like Proto-Besh?
I don't know.
Wow.
Ultra Proto-Besh.
But yeah, words that we don't understand. Mooths, for all I know. This way. Tuz.
Could be trades.
All right, at Mooths, the Ewoks all begin to clamor for Wicket to use his highly curated Mon seeds.
Yeah, they all find something neat.
To buy something for them. For Weechi, it is a bow. Tebow is interested in a knife. Latara wants a hat. Willie is interested in some taffy. And Paplu has found a fancy fishing pole. Now,
unfortunately, Willie is just like right knee deep into it already.
Yeah. You
Hasn't
can
even buy
keep
it
the
yet.
taffy.
Yeah. You've handled that. It's yours.
You've
now.
got Ewok fur in it now, sir.
They have a specific list of items that they hand over to Muth. By the way, it's on another scroll, another Ewok scroll with more language that is not interpretable.
Get a Cyril Sneer vibe off him.
Very much so.
Okay.
The list of supplies that they're supposed to pick up includes some items like nut paste, pine pitch, and grass twine.
Grass twine.
All things I guess you would need.
That is.
I guess stuff you'd need to maintain the houses.
Well, winter supplies, they say.
I get, yeah, winter
Maybe
stuff.
in large volumes. Like that's all like, it's not these highly magical specialized items like the invisible soap berries.
Yeah.
Go grab me some of those.
Well, he tries to upsell them on
he does
some other stuff like, oh, we got this on sale and this is a bargain. And
it's fruit day today.
Yeah.
I don't remember the specific name of the fruit.
Melurons.
But Muth might as well be. Muth questions whether the Ewoks will be actually able to pay for everything. They do tell him, the wagon is full. And then he's like, we'll handle that. And like two other Muth
species, dude.
Two other Muths show up.
Kangaroo anteaters.
Yeah. And then end up going to unload the wagon. And that's the last we see of them. Then wait a second here. When Muth sees the Mon seeds, he dangles a shiny rock on a leather cord in front of Wicket, and he calls it an incredibly lucky stone brought to him from far away by the most feared traders he knows, and that anyone who wears it will find happiness and success. Nisa leans into Wicket, and she calls it beautiful.
He has to shut the rest of them down, though, because they're like, oh, we could get the knife. We could get this. We could get that.
That's a recurring thing. And because he kind of shunned them all, that comes back this episode. Because he chooses to buy the shiny rock, they all start making fun of, well, I shouldn't say they all, but he gets
they rip on him.
He gets made fun of about, oh, what about your rock? Your rock. And it's like, wow, man, like you're that bitter that he didn't buy you a fishing rod? Or
They totally are, though. Yeah.
Like, what
your stupid little rock treat? Yeah.
It's funny too.
He doesn't pick an item. Like he picks the rock, but he doesn't pick a personal item and neither does Nisa. Everybody else is like, ooh, this, ooh, that.
Yeah, he picks it and immediately gives it to her.
Immediately.
Well, he waits till they're outside.
That's true, but still, I mean, we're talking seconds, not like days later or whatever. No, and it's funny, like
he does wait until they're like out of earshot of the rest of them, right? Like
that's true.
Him and Nisa are walking behind the buggy and whatnot, and having their little moment.
It's funny. There's a bit of a role reversal here in the sense that like the older siblings are like wanting the thing from the younger sibling. It's usually the other way around.
Usually, yeah.
Like, you've got money. Can you give me a thing? Shut up. You're my little brother. And
I'm getting what I want.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not the case in this one. All right, Andy, you kind of nailed it. Talking about Muth here. Muth, there is no real explanation for him, so I put it together. He's like a cross between an anteater and a kangaroo.
Yeah.
He does show up later on for one more episode. That's in season 2. But aside from that and some old Legends reference books like the Star Wars Encyclopedia, he doesn't appear in any other Star Wars media. And just like Yoda, Muth is one of the greatest mysteries in Star Wars, as we don't
Just
know.
like Yoda.
We don't know what his species is.
But we do know there's more
Cue
than
up
one.
some baby Muth.
Because there's at
Baby
least 3
Moot?
here, right?
What's that?
There's at least 3 here.
And I got the impression that they're all guys.
Seemed like that.
Not that that necessarily matters in space wizards and laser swords.
Yeah.
What we do know is that he is voiced by Canadian voice actor John Stalker. And talking last week, I guess it's a couple weeks ago now, talking about that connection, that how things were reminiscent, like Trebla was reminiscent of No Heart. Well, John Stalker, the voice of Muth, actually was Mr. Beastly.
Nice.
So we get another Care Bears connection in this episode. By the way, John Stalker, you are definitely familiar with his work outside of this. Let me just go through some of his animated stuff. He's got 184 acting credits across both live action and voice work, spanning from 1967 all the way up to and including still working last year in 2023.
Wow.
It includes the Gun Grinner, who was one of the monster mines from Jace and the Wheeled Warriors, one of the plant-based vehicles,
Okay.
which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah. He played Newton Gimmick in The Adventures of Teddy Ruxpin.
Nice.
Were you guys a fan of Cops or Cops and Robbers?
I watched
little
it,
bit.
but I have vague memories of it.
Played Long Arm.
Oh,
Really?
cool.
Yeah, Long Arm O'Malley.
The dude with the handcuff.
And he was Toad in virtually every iteration of Super Mario. So I thought that was kind of cool. And for those of you who have children, or maybe you watch this with your kids, he was Mr. Owl in Franklin and Friends. I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't remember that one, but I do remember the wise old owl from Mr. Dress Up.
I just remember the one that told me how many licks it takes to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll.
Damn liar, that guy.
2,
Because he had the beak. That's how he could do it.
Yeah.
3.
Guy was
And
with
now-
teeth.
He's without a Tootsie Roll. Let me see. All right. On the way back to Bright Tree Village, Weechi, of all people, of course, criticizes Wicket for buying the rock. Now, Wicket has given the rock to Nisa because she liked it. And that, what?
We get our second innuendo here, though,
In what sense?
in that she says, "Thanks for giving it to me, Wicket. I really liked it."
Oh, see, I didn't go there.
Dirty adult.
I
filter.
didn't go there. I didn't even think that way, to be honest.
Well,
maybe
there you
I'm
go.
just a little too naive. I don't know. Straight shooting, I guess. Now we get attacked by what I think is one of the most hilarious villains in the entire series. Scandits.
Flying raccoons.
Scandits. I'm like, did somebody say okay, we're just gonna have some guys jump out of the trees, they're gonna fly down from the sky, and they're bandits. I know, we'll call
Sky
them
Bandits.
Sky Bandits.
That's
Scandit.
taken. Well, then we just combine it.
Scandits.
Sky Bandit is taken.
And they
Yeah.
have the most inefficient weapon in the entirety of Star Wars.
A
And they're
bull
clear-
with a blunt bag on.
Yeah. And they're clearly based on some guys like, I was shopping this superhero thing about a fox and a cape and a domino mask around.
Well, that's
You
what I
guys want to
mean,
use
like-
that for the Scandits?
Talking about the Cyril sneer, I'm like, now we've got like the raccoons have just shown up,
Yep.
right?
Like the Hong Kong Fooey of Endor.
Seriously. Okay. The Ewoks are quickly taken prisoner, and
Well, they
this
spook the horse. Well, the horse thing.
the Bordok, the
Yeah.
great
The
Bordok.
great board. Yeah, they spook him, and he goes off fleeing.
Okay, so here's the thing, and this is where I'm like, the adult me is like, oh my god,
They just lost all the winter supplies.
all the winter supplies are gone. We never go back to that. We just see it
No, we don't.
running off. So I'm like, is this like a horse? Like, oh, he knows his way home.
I hope so.
Does he? Or did he just become fodder for like,
More.
They just traded. That's everything the village had.
that's
too.
what I mean.
Like,
like,
still
oh
got
my
the magic
God.
rock though. How
The
does the
village is
magic
doomed.
rock now look in lieu of that? That's that's
But,
crazy.
You know, if he ran as fast as he could be back at the village by nightfall. And like he just shows up with all the supplies. They're like,
But
where's
you're
all
right.
the kids?
As a kid, you wouldn't even care.
No, and I
You know,
stopped the
people's
episode and I'm
parents are
thinking,
screaming. What about the groceries?
that's what I mean. I stopped the episode and I'm like, oh my God, they're doomed. I mean, but clearly there's more episodes in the season. So like,
Yeah.
but I'm like, maybe they'll just have it showing up in the background somewhere. No, not at all. We never see it again.
Hmm.
Nobody talks about it. Well,
Well, if you've ever
never
told
know.
a child, no, we don't have money for that, it doesn't click. that does not compute.
Look at our Scandits here. Again, no real explanation given to these creatures other than let's see. We got a classic sort of robber look with
Yep.
like Robin's cape and maybe a raccoon. That or like you said, a fox or
Yeah.
some other kind of creature.
Yep.
Again, no other information on these guys.
And they carry beanbags on sticks.
They get half a
Look
pugil
like
stick.
silicone breasts.
I do like the one frame though in the previous one where Willie's walking there and he's got him stuck to him with the taffy.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
stuck
that-
to his
yes.
body.
That was funny.
I don't know who's more put out about it, Willie or the Scandit.
That's,
Yo.
that's likely an animator flexing. That's funny stuff.
I do like that. It's quite cute. Well, the Ewoks get imprisoned, and it's quite an interesting way that they do this. They stick them in the hollow of a tree.
As they pan through that village, there's a lot of tree prisons.
Quite a few, which makes me think that the Scandits are, far more active.
Constantly like abducting people off the road and stealing what they can.
That begs the question then, like, what other things besides the flogs and Morag and the Jindas, like what else is out there that these little dudes
Could actually get a hold
that's
of
what I mean.
the Guppins.
The Guppins? Oh, maybe.
Any wayward travelers who land in their spaceship and can't get out of there.
Wilford Brimley.
That's right.
Them versus those grass shooting, dart
Oh.
shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Dandelion warriors.
Gaz says, they look like bad guys from Tennessee Tuxedo. You wouldn't see that in Manchi Cheese. Oh, man. Yeah, so they're imprisoned in the hollow underneath a tree. Nisa is relieved that the Scandits did not take the shiny rock necklace.
Yeah. And again, right on her for it. Oh, yeah. Good thing the rock's still here.
That's right. Lucky Rock. If it were lucky, he says, we wouldn't be here in the first place.
Or is it lucky because it put them where they needed to be?
Yeah.
The force
Cue the
works.
Jindas.
Yeah. The force works in strange ways. The Jindas arrive, and Bondo goes right into his traveling
performance,
Jindos. He calls them, what does he calls them?
We are the Jindas and Pilgrims.
Yeah, but he calls the Scandits like he calls them
Scantonitos or
yeah,
something.
Scantonitos.
Yeah.
And they actually agree to letting them stay to perform.
I wouldn't have agreed after his opening though, because like the first one, he kind of bats with his foghorn,
That's true.
and then the other two, he bats them away again, and that's after they say yes.
Which is funny because he wasn't that clumsy
No, when he was
in the
giving it
previous
to the
episode.
Ewoks or the Duloks.
Yeah. Well, then this is another interesting one, which I thought, and I get it that we're saving money on animation costs if we don't animate it, but suddenly we hear flute music.
Must not have found that flute either.
Not once did we see.
Latara, where are you hiding that flute?
Oh
Not
my.
once did we see Latara's flute in the episode, but Bondo's like, wait a minute.
I hear that music. It's so
Wait a
familiar.
minute. Yeah.
She's
yeah,
got a purse, guys. They're not marsupials.
They go to the cage.
Both might be, though.
Bondo and Trebla go over to the cage. But then the Scandits are right there, and they are not happy about it because obviously they're getting too close and kind of do the "Hurr." So Bondo fakes like,
I love how he pulls that off. Like Nisa or Latara's like, Bondo, help us. And he's like,
Yeah.
what are these creatures? I don't know them.
prisoners. We should get away.
Yeah.
And Latara, she completely buys into it, judging from the tears.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He's just going to leave us.
Yeah. And she thinks that they've been abandoned. Well, later that night, the Jindas get onto putting on the show, and How cute the
He masks up.
Bondo has adopted a bandit mask.
He's identifying with the audience.
Sorry, a Scandit mask.
There you go.
Interestingly enough, inside the hollow cage, Latara is like, "Oh, that's a new bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's new." And they're all like, "What? How can you be interested in this?"
She's
Better
an
than
old-
watching you pop Lou.
Yeah, absolutely.
Used to be a Jinda, you know.
What's funny is we get talking about the adult innuendo. We get a huge dose of it here as we get two dancers coming in doing a variation of some kind of veil dance.
Mm-hmm.
And what's hilarious is like the veil dance is so captivating. They actually dance the two Scandits into unconsciousness.
Well, the heart beats first. Though.
You see the heart coming through their skin.
Yeah. What was
Which
on
I thought
those
was funny.
veils? Chloroform.
Hey, does this smell like chloroform? Oh, sorry.
Oh, Joe fans joined us.
Joe Fan 84. Hello, sir. Welcome to the
Joe.
show. We're hanging out with the Jindas, who are may or maybe not be rescuing some Ewoks from Scandits, purpley sky bandits.
Mm.
Trebla gives the actually they want to know how they're going to get out, and Trebla seems to have that wrapped up. They think it's a monster, but as it turns out, it's essentially like a Chinese
walking dragon.
Chinese style dragon costume.
Mm.
And he tells them specifically, go to the A-Wars, to their big beast creatures behind the stage. Remember that, behind the stage.
Go get in the cab or the carriage thing.
Exactly.
Thing.
Go get on the horse and don't do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Can't have that happen.
God damn it, Wicked.
As they approach the stage, a pair of Scandit guards try to stop them, which is hilarious. This costume's mouth is wide open.
He's sticking his head
there's
out.
enough for two Ewoks, two abreast, to stick their heads out and go, "Hey, what's going on out here?" But the Scandits are like, they don't know what to do.
And then he starts growling at them. Oh, look, they're scared of us.
But then he's leaning. He's like, "Grr. Hey, look it's the equivalent of going, no, officer, I haven't been drinking. I just told him I wasn't drinking." Yeah, no, I haven't had a thing to drink all night. Like he thinks I'm telling the truth, guys.
Exactly.
It's hilarious, and it's like they have this large prison system, and they're fairly successful. But how? If they're terrified of this,
The Scandits don't really know what to do, but at the same time, they don't move either. Wicket makes a point to tell Nisa that, and her answer is like,
around them.
"Well, go around, drive around them."
They're not going to do nothing. Just go around.
Have either of you ever been involved in one of these like two-person costumes where one person is the head and the other person is the not head?
No, I have no desire to be
No.
on the arse end of a horse costume.
Now let's do that times 5.
True.
I have seen Top Secret.
Which does create some interesting funny beats, because like Willie's stepping on toes and that's upsetting everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny, he loses where like he wanders onto the stage, but
Well,
he's got full. You can see everything. It's so full view.
The whole go behind the stage. Okay.
Where are you going? You're taking us on the stage.
Why are we going on stage? I think there's there's another thing going on here. There's another element of it. And Wicket is actually like,
He's getting cocky.
There's some hubris here. And he's like, "Oh, they're afraid of us. Let's
have some fun with
this." Yeah, absolutely. Well, where are we at? Oh yeah. So,
Bondo tries to introduce the dancing devils, but you're not the dancing devils.
That's right. So, as most of the how can we watch the show? Two dancers dance their way. The costume approaching the stage. Two Scandit guards try to stop them. Wicket stomps his feet and growls, scaring the Scandits, but they don't move. Nisa says, "Go around." Instead of going backstage, Wicket instead walks them right onto the stage, and they are now in the show.
Didn't notice that stare.
And Bondo makes a point to say something like, "Oh, I didn't know that was in the show."
Yeah.
Now the Skandits are actually terrified of the dragon creature, so much so that Wicket says, "Let's have some fun with it." But Willie has tripped up Paplu by stepping on his feet, and the costume falls apart.
At least he's not covered in taffy anymore.
No, that's true. Revealing everybody, and now the Ewoks are forced to flee.
Bondo has to like, Ewok, look behind you.
Yeah. As and everybody's all splayed out over the stage. What's interesting is that when they flee, they make no
they leave the stage.
That's what I was going to say. There's the infrastructure for the show in the previous episode. I just assumed they set it up, took it down, and it travels with them.
Like it's part of one of the pack-ons that go on the Inmars, right?
This time we just abandoned the whole thing.
Kind of foreshadowing.
A little, yeah, maybe.
They're not gonna need it anymore.
Maybe. There's a cool thing like grab the vines and swing up onto the thing. Also, and I wish I had a video clip of this because this was one of those nostalgia moments, not about Ewoks, but about hand-drawn cell animation. There is a moment where Bondo is running. He's running towards the Awar to swing up onto it, and it is feature film quality animation. It is so smooth. You almost would think that it was rotoscoped. It is so beautiful, which is funny because he's such like the goofiest character in the show.
Yeah.
But is this one moment where like, that you can tell that the cell count is much, much higher than the rest of the episode. It's totally worth, even just for those 2-3 seconds of seeing that, that's worth taking a look at just to see some beautiful animation. All right. So as they flee the village, it's basically like, I hope you guys know how to get home.
Yeah.
And they say, well, we know the way. We'll show you. They do. They lead them back to the village, and everybody is happy to be reunited with their families. Nisa shows off the lucky rock. And then Aunt Bozzy, rightly so, says, I hope you didn't trade village wares for the rock. Chirpa thanks Bondo for returning the children. But then
she like lays it right on to Paplu. Oh, my little Paplu.
Oh, I know. She doesn't. She nuzzles him quite. And of course, he's not. Yeah. Leave me alone, Mom. My friends are here. Don't do this.
Yep.
The rocks show up, and cool moment here. Chirpa orders everybody off the forest floor into the village, and will pull up the stairs. Doesn't stop the Dulocks from getting in, though.
No.
Thinking.
It's funny, these the rocks that attack them off of a cliff cannot.
Yeah, or submerge underwater and get you.
Yeah,
can't float their own height apparently.
Yeah, exactly. While they're sitting there, sort of figuring out what to do, Chirpa asks Bondo about this curse. And Bondo is seemingly like he
pulls the drama card. No, I can't talk about the curse.
No, he doesn't want to.
Boys, hit it.
But Logray insists that they have to know if they're to help them. And so Bondo breaks into this song.
Oh yeah. A historical retelling.
And I didn't memorize it, so I am not going to sing it, but Bondo breaks into a song, and he sings about how at one time they used to be farmers living under the watchful eye of someone called the Rock Wizard. Now, the Rock Wizard apparently loved Jinda cuisine until one day a meal that they served to him caused him great pain, and the wizard thought that they were trying to poison him. So he banished them from his lands, placing the rock curse on them that keeps them moving from place to place, never able to go home. There's a line in the curse that said they won't be able to rest until he's able to rest.
Yep.
That's what the kids today would call cringe. I think that song. It was tough to watch. I was like, oh, I'm glad they don't do that a lot.
But the Rock Wizard seemed like a jolly fellow.
Oh man, like this another like elemental being on Endor, like like Jindu level or Bendu level powered
like
rock creature.
Why didn't this guy and more?
What the hell is going on in this moon?
She knew not to mess with him.
Oh, maybe
There's more life there than Earth.
Ground open.
That is true. That is true. Logray says that he's heard of the wizard, and he's like, I don't understand his change in temperament. Actually, Logray is the one that says he was a
jolly
I've known him
fellow.
to be a jolly fellow. I don't understand his change. Nisa asks if there's any way that they can help them, and Logray says that he'll need some time to think on that. Bondo thanks the Ewoks for their help, and Chirpa tells him that it's dangerous for Logray to interfere with another wizard's magic. So Logray has decided that he is going to lift the curse. And now we talked about this, like, I think way back in our very, very first episode about Tebow.
Mm-hmm.
About Tebow being force sensitive and also being sort of the understudy for Logray. And we get
Definitely
to see that.
therapist, yeah.
Logray puts it into words about Tebow.
We get to see that in action this time, as both Logray and Tebow concentrate and essentially interrupt the spell.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the forest floor together and together use magic to summon a flock of birds. The birds show up draping vines, thick vines all over the rocks, and then they change gears. They chant again, and then a bunch of like otters, like otter looking,
otters.
yeah, kind of show up, and they start tying the rocks together with the vines, effectively tying them to the ground or to the trees, so they can't chase the Jindas anymore.
He even says like Jedi Master stuff to you. Use your connection to the animals in the forest.
Yeah,
he
you
looks
have
down,
a
he
great
says, you are
connection to-
powerful with the animals of the planet.
Yeah. I thought that was very interesting, especially like, as I said, we talked about this earlier, and getting to see, because before it was just a line of like, oh yeah, apparently he trained with Logray. Oh, but now we actually get to see evidence of that, and that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after the rocks are tied down, Bondo thinks the curse has been broken, and Paplu and Ouija tease Wicket about why didn't they use the lucky stone. Wicket finally has had enough. He's had enough. He kind of snaps at them and he's like, listen, I bought something that I wanted with my own money for someone that I like, and not,
Some greedy Ewok who wanted something for themselves.
Exactly. Joe Fan 84 says, I'd like to see a Jedi Master Ewok.
Yes.
On some level, I mean,
Logray is it.
Yeah. At least he's the one that we're aware of. Not to say that there couldn't be other ones out there, but you mean like in the traditional Jedi sense, like classically trained Jedi? That
it would be kind of cool.
Interesting.
I would love to see any Ewok off Endor.
I
in
agree.
The New Republic.
Yes,
would be dope.
Speaking of, you see that Rebuild the Galaxy came out, eh?
It is out. I
watched the first episode. It's good.
It's on my list to watch. I've already been told it's cute.
It is cute. It's packed full of references and mashups you would never see coming.
Okay. I got a message from a friend of mine who is an avid Lego collector, and he made a point to send me a picture. He's like, just remember when you're watching it, this is a brick separator. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch for it. So apparently that plays a role in the show. So interested to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, as that's going on, as the Jindas are rejoicing that the curse is broken, the ground trembles, and Logray warns the Jindas that their troubles may not be over yet, because the Rock Wizard may not let go so easily. Bondo asks, well, what can we do? And then as he says that, the ground literally splits in two and erupts this giant gout of debris. And these giant rocks fold out, coalescing together into the form of the Rock Wizard. Yeah. And now he's there. Cool way to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Travel subterraneanly through the rocks.
Or did he have to travel at all? Or is he just connected to every rock on Endor?
That's what I'm wondering. Like,
he felt like an
cool.
elemental type.
Yeah.
He's
big time. Yeah.
He had control over every aspect of the ground there.
Yeah.
He demands to know who interfered with my magic. Logray says that the Jindas have done the Ewoks a great favor by returning the children And so for that reason, he's opted to remove what Logray calls your misguided curse.
Mhm.
Now, the rock wizard gets pretty upset about that. Losing his temper, he hurls like giant rocks, like curse-sized rocks at Logray, and only Chirpa diving in to bail him out of the way saves his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is one of the I think of all the episodes we've watched so far, this is the first time we've seen somebody in real danger, at risk of losing their life. You know, if Chirpa hadn't have stepped in, Logray would have been smoked. And then we get to see that again here.
Well, in the one episode where he was using the force to move the trees to save the kids falling off the cliff, that was another instance. There,
You're right. You're right. No, you are right. But that was because they fell.
Yeah, not as a result.
Not as a direct. Well, technically, Morag.
Did she collapse the cliff on them? I think
it was a lightning blast or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But was it from her staff or was it an actual lightning bolt? I don't remember.
Have to rewatch it.
I don't remember. Joe Fan says that just the consciousness traveling and you could be anywhere in the world instantly. That sounds cool. Totally agree with that.
Basically, he's ego.
Oh yeah.
Ego, but attached to the planet.
Well, the rock wizard, after losing his temper and hurling the rocks, he does this point where he's like, oh, where he kind of grasps at his jaw.
Mm-hmm.
And he does this a couple of times, kind of suggesting, and I don't know about you guys, but it's like, was it telegraphed?
I think I know what's wrong with him.
Yeah. I did. There was it didn't leave anything to imagine in this case.
And for me, I was like, oh, that makes sense. I once killed a whole tribe of bears because of the same thing. So
that's right. But the rock wizard splits the ground open again. Another gout of debris comes up and it literally wipes an entire house off the side of a tree. You can't see it here, but there's like a family.
Yeah.
They and they barely get out of the way before this thing is
decimated,
vaporized. Logray implores him to stop in the name of the light spirit, but he just hurls more rocks at them. Now, Nisa, feeling compelled to help, she rushes in, begging the rock wizard to stop. Chirpa's like, no, get out of here, daughter. Ah. She says, stop before you destroy us all. And then the rock wizard, spotting the shiny lucky rock around her neck, remarks, what? It can't be. That's mine. Give me my tooth back.
That easy. Nisa, the special rock.
Yeah, the rock. Give him the rock. And she does. And of course,
now
he fits it in and immediately just like, I feel better.
And the eyes go back to blue. He's on the side of angels again.
He starts laughing, which again, my adult self is like, this guy's off he's unhinged. He's off his rocker. He's nearly
driven mad by tooth pain.
And he's nearly like killed them all.
What's the classic? And it's funny because it's such a small part in the end. Like the rock is the sort of the MacGuffin, but it's such a small part of the end. This character just shows up but it's the lion with the
thorn in his paw, the inverse of it. Right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Becomes a kitten once the pain
instead
is
of
removed,
instead of removing the thorn,
we got to put the tooth back in.
Yeah. She gives him the tooth. After fitting it back into his mouth, he laughs out loud, which the Ewoks don't find funny, citing that he nearly killed them,
or he may have anyway with one of those ones up in the house.
Maybe
someone didn't make it out.
He says that he thought the Jindas had caused him the pain when now in reality it was just the missing tooth.
Funny enough, I was just like, because they prepared the meal that like in their history, they gave him something and he said they tried to poison him. So they gave him something. His tooth came out in that meal.
Yeah. I kind of wondered that.
But so then maybe like taffy or something, and it just kind of stuck and pulled.
The trader also said a group of traveling warriors I got this from. So it's conceivable that the Jindas did have the tooth and were the ones who gave it to the trader.
I suppose so.
What can we get for this?
We've seen Chatur, and he's pretty formidable.
Found this on a plate when I cleaned up.
I never considered it that way. I always took the line about the most fearsome was part of the sales pitch, right? To make the mystique around the item that much more like, ooh,
Yeah.
far away from dangerous people. That's got, I need to have that. But it could have been the Jindas.
But then that raises another question: how did they get it? Because if it got pulled out while he was eating, chances are he swallowed it.
Oh,
So
boy.
which Jinda was waiting around to sift through a pile of rock poop?
Well, they didn't stick around long enough for that to happen because it was
Yeah.
like, let's go, pack it up.
And like,
leave.
what all-powerful rock being can't just like grow back a new rock tooth? You can create a mountain and lava bursts,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
But he can't
teleport
find a
all over the
replacement.
planet, but you can't grow back a tooth.
Isn't that strange? He says, where did you get it? And Nisa says that they got it from a trader in the forest who called it a lucky stone. The rock wizard remarks back, well, perhaps it is. And no longer in pain, he says, okay, curse is off.
You may return
Curses
to the
off,
life
yeah.
you love.
That's how I
Yeah,
get out
exactly.
all my curses.
just appease the guy. And he's like, yeah, they want to know what that means. He's like, that's right. You can return to the previous life that you loved underneath my fortress. You can come feed me again.
You think they will?
Yeah, because
They
they're
lost their stage and now they need a new home, right?
You know, it's part of their deal. Every time they stop somewhere, it's like, just let us perform for you, give us lodgings, and maybe something to eat. There's a food component there. They've mentioned it a few times about wanting to taste. Maybe you have some tasty morsels,
but they can't stay in any one place long enough to grow their own stuff.
right?
How long do we think? Like, I know it's kind of a silly question. It's the adult in us again, but how long do we think that they've been traveling? If it's a tooth issue and the tooth, I mean, there's nothing real about it. The tooth could have rotted, blah blah, all this other thing.
Yeah.
But
how long has he gone without it?
Because I kind of got the impression it was generational. Like when he tells the story, there's a song about it. This happened generations ago.
But then they're in the song, like.
So then my question would be, if you spent generations being a gypsy and this is your lifestyle, even with the opportunity to go home,
would you? Good question. That's a good question.
Bondo, I think, would, because he was getting right comfy at the waterfall.
Oh, right. Because he just didn't
travel
so
long. That's a good point.
He didn't want to pick up and move.
But at the same time, like you said there, in the previous one when we met them, does Logray not say, they've always been traveler, they have no home? Implying again that it's a generational thing.
Right, they're famous for getting lost.
And then in Bondo's song, he says, we evolved to become entertainers.
Okay.
So like
quick evolutionary process. One generation. Same generation.
Pick it up.
I like Joe's last two comments about the tooth.
Yeah. A toothache will drive you nuts. Yes, it will. It's like, oh yeah, my bad. I may have overreacted.
If you've ever had a wife who had a child and she called you whatever she wanted to in that room
in the process,
then you know what it's like for someone to turn into an absolute demon and then just be okay 5 seconds later.
Well, Chirpa points out that there was a little bit of help from Nisa, who was bold enough to face off, which really just
an elemental wizard.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out for everybody.
Now, magic rock. This is the equivalent of a beanbag on a stick.
Having a little bit of crow, Paplu and Weechi laugh uncomfortably. They've been ragging about this rock the whole episode. And then it's kind of funny as everybody stands there laughing, including the rock wizard, he literally plucks Wicked and Nisa like dolls.
Oh, thank you, little furballs. Are you tasty?
And then it just ends. Like, okay, that's it. It's over.
Yep.
It felt longer than 22 minutes, though, did it not?
A little bit.
It did, and it's that.
I think it's the disjointed story. Like,
that's
here's the plot thread. Let's abandon it. Here's the plot thread.
Like, because Winter Supplies. Oh my God, that's a whole plot on its own, right?
True.
And then Rock Wizard. That's
like a Tarantino Ewok episode.
Oh my God, yes.
The supply thing I can overlook because they are super happy to get their kids back. Like, okay, the supplies aren't important. Our kids came back.
We don't really get a sense of, and maybe from the list of things like string and pine pitch, right? To patch roofs and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not critical, but it's like, if you need this stuff for the winter, like,
you're going to need it at some point.
Maybe they should have just quantified. maybe it's a good thing they didn't quantify it, but like we'll never know, right? Because it's never heard of,
Yeah.
and we never speak of it again.
I guess we'll have to watch in future episodes if the oxen dude come back.
I'd
If he
like to
pops
know
up again, right?
The
I-
great. Oh, for sure, those animals are back, but it's
The
how do
large
you-
Bordock?
Is it
That's
the,
it. I
is
keep
it the
forgetting
same
his name.
one, the Great Bordock?
Yeah.
Is it the same one or is it a different one?
Mm,
Right, because the common beast of burden for the Ewoks.
yeah.
Maybe they may travel south for the winter. We'll go to the equatorial regions for the winter.
Hmm.
Wow, that was the curse of the Jindas.
The traveling Jindas.
Now that it's over, looking back on it, you guys refreshed on it recently, like today.
Mhm.
Yeah, today, yes.
What do you think?
Not
Now that
bad.
We've watched it again.
Not bad. Super. And I guess as a kid, you probably wouldn't care much, but having just seen the other Jindas episode like a couple weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, like one episode between.
Mhm.
It's super derivative of it. So it's like, where we were super tolerant in the 80s, I guess. Can you imagine if this came out today? The fandom would be like,
Why are we
those
going back to
Jindas.
them already?
Dude, did you guys catch the? I put a video in our group chat about if Star Wars was made today.
Oh my god, the cancellation that'd be
The
happening.
guy is so on point.
Yep.
Why,
Sisters,
Mark
I'm
Hamill's
done.
chest. I could see his chest. It's just for the girls.
All right. Well, the next one. So we are literally at that critical moment, and we really haven't heard from any of you folks who are watching one way or the other. So it's in our court now.
Yep.
We have a decision to make. We can keep going next week with Land of the Guppins, or we can pivot and we can go to Marvel Studios Agatha All Along. So really, my question for you gentlemen is, what do you want to do?
I reserve judgment until Wednesday.
Oh, I see. You want to see it? I'm in the Ewok camp, but
I feel like I'm there as
amenable
well.
to coercion. So
I'm definitely going to watch Agatha. It's just a question of do I want to
hard or
do I want to interrupt this to facilitate that? I
Hmm.
feel like with the number of episodes that are left, at least in season 1, I feel like we should see season
See it
1
through.
through.
That'd be cool.
And then we
Yeah.
can come back and talk about Agatha maybe in a more condensed form.
Just
Similar to
like
what
we did with WandaVision.
Wanda. Yeah.
Yeah, very much
I have
so.
no problem with that. It's a lot lighter on your head for the writing too.
I think so as well. Oh, yes, we do. We do take calls.
Call us on
especially
WhatsApp.
on
Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays, we do take calls on our other pop culture show, our news magazine show.
Random
Yeah,
fan.
that's the one. Yeah, so there will be random fandom this week. I think we just had Hasbro PulseCon the other day,
so
so
much good
there's
stuff.
lots of Hasbro news to talk about. And then, like I said, next week, I guess we're going to be back with Land of the Guppins.
Land of the Guppins.
Those weird little psychic changers.
And will Ron James be back? And will he be as angry as he was when I tried to get him to do an interview?
Maybe.
The last angry voice actor.
That's right. Yeah. All right, guys. Anything you guys want to close on before we say goodnight?
No, fun as always. I missed last week, man.
Yeah. So we are definitely happy that you were back and that you are no longer under the weather. And we were worried about you for a while. So
I was worried about me. That was a crazy one. I won't get into any details with the world
Nope.
out there,
No,
but
that's all right.
holy cow, boys
Yeah.
and girls, cook your chicken.
all right, guys. Remember, whatever your thing is, to fan on as always. And remember, for Fandom Power, my name is Wes,
I'm Andy.
I'm Hank.
and we'll see you on the next one, guys. So bye for now.
Manamachu. Goopa Loopa. Gunda. Yep. Manatuto. Goopa Loopa.